Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers, and I'm here with our first run look at the new Hoka Kawana 2. Now Hoka tags this shoe as a natural, balanced, accessible training shoe that's built for everyday training runs and workouts in the gym, like cardio, that kind of thing. This is the second generation. It has some minor tweaks, and we've taken it for some very early first miles to see how those feel. So watch on for our Hoka Kawana 2 first run. Some quick details then, and the stack height comes in the same as the Kawana first gen, with 30 mils in the heel, 25 mils in the forefoot for a 5 mil drop. Weight wise, it's listed on the Hoka site as 11.1 ounces, but it comes in at 10.3 ounces or 291 grams in a UK men's 8.5 test shoe. That's shaved some weight off the original Kawana that was well over 300 grams. In terms of price, it will cost you £125 in the UK or $140. That's the same as the last gen, so no UK price hike here for once. So let's give you a really quick shoe whip round then. The first thing to say is not much has changed here between the Kawana 1 and the Kawana 2. This update is all about minor tweaks rather than an overhaul. So if you like the first gen, you're probably going to like this. If not, probably not much has changed. The midsole geometry looks unchanged, with a medium stack of firm EVA with some early stage rockering here. There's a new single layer mesh upper, that's where the main changes are. That's been changed to improve the fit and security. That's still quite thick but fairly flexible. There's an internal sock-like bootie that hugs and holds the foot more, and the lacing structure has also been changed against the first gen, again in a bid to improve the fit and the security of the hold here. I'd say the tongues and the heel collars are also a shade more padded, definitely in the heels, and I would say they offer a pretty sort of plush level of padding overall. There's some extra cush added to the lace lockdown point here on the tongues as well to stop any lace pinch, and Hoka has also added a heel pull here, though I don't find these are particularly difficult to get on, so I think it's just like an aesthetic detail. Flip them over and you've got a gum rubber outsole here that looks exactly the same in terms of the overall coverage as you got on the first gen. So when it comes to fit, it's a pretty standard sort of situation here with Hoka shoes. First put them on, they're very snug. They feel quite narrow in the toe box. They're quite narrow across that kind of back of the toes, across the midfoot, across the top. That loosens off after time, I find, in Hoka shoes. But yeah, I think they do come up quite narrow in the toe box. There's, particularly at the back of the toe box, that's where I feel it the most. When you sort of get into the main bit, there's kind of enough room for the toes to spread. Again, as I say with a lot of Hoka shoes, I'd be tempted to go half a size up. Maybe if you've got particularly long feet or you've got particularly wide feet, you might want to have a look at that. If you don't mind it snug, then go true to size. Yeah, I tend to find that these loosen off after a while, so my instinct here is that I would go true to size. But yeah, if you want more room and you're going to use these for longer runs for sure, like 3-4 hours, that kind of stuff, or walking long walks, then I think you're going to want to go half a size up. So I'm just back from my first run in the Hoka Kawana 2. In this one, I just did an easy 5k recovery run. I did a fast 10k yesterday. My legs are a bit battered, so I just wanted to take this out and see how it copes. Nice and easy. I've done a bit of road, bit of river paths. For me, this is kind of a pretty sort of standard Kawana situation. What you've got here is a rockered shoe with a pretty firm midsole. It's got a nice cradle to it in the footbed, but overall you're going to get a firm rockered ride out of these. They're fairly heavy. There's quite a lot going on under the foot. They're not a million miles from a Clifton, I found. They work best when you're just clipping along happily, moving your feet nice with a high turnover, not having too much ground contact time because there's not an awful lot of cushion protection coming up. Despite the fact you've got quite a big stack, it's quite a firm stack of midsole foam there. And that makes for a ride that I think most people, for easy runs, maybe you're going to find a little bit too firm, a little bit too solid, a little bit too much kind of contact coming up, a little bit too much impact. It's certainly a million miles away from something like a plush kind of Nimbus or a 1080 V13 or a Saucony Ride 17, those kind of shoes. As I said, the fit, you've got quite a snug overall sort of fit on the foot. There's no movement here in the shoes. I felt well held down, very, very secure. Good, nice plush padded heel collars, tongues, all of that kind of stuff, as you'd expect from a shoe like this, is there to give you a good overall comfort on the foot. Now, I definitely feel like this is a shoe that you're going to have to break that midsole in a bit. I think it's going to take a few miles until it settles and starts to feel a bit more comfortable. I think after that, maybe it will soften up somewhat. It definitely feels firm to me. What would I use this for? My initial instincts for this shoe, I don't think it's a very good shoe for what I've just done there, like a recovery day shoe. It just wasn't quite the softness and the cushioning that I was looking for today and the protection. I wanted something that was a little lighter and a little bit more yeah, it's soft and helpful in that sense, a little, maybe even a little more kind of springy. But yeah, what you're getting here, I think, is a pretty balanced ride overall. Stability wise, it's a neutral daily trainer. It's like targeted at kind of easy runs, and, you know, it's even kind of walking up to kind of easy running. But it does feel balanced. There's I thought a good amount of stability. I was off on some really sort of, you know, slightly bumpy off-road river paths and stuff that does test the stability of the shoe. No problems, no wobble. And again, I think maybe that's down to sort of slightly that kind of firm platform that means that you're sort of a little more in control. There's no kind of wobble into the midsole as you can have with some of the really sort of soft, sort of easy daily trainers. That said, I don't think this is going to be one that a lot of people are going to want to go and run a lot of long miles in. Initially, that's my first reaction. Maybe that will change as I use these more, but that's how I felt today. So yeah, for that easy miles recovery run, an interesting ride. Didn't dislike it. Didn't find it was enough protection for today. It is quite heavy on the foot as well. That's the other thing, you know, it's 11 ounces plus. It does feel like quite a lot of shoe on the foot, but I guess that's what this shoe is going for. Be interesting, I think, to compare this with the Clifton and see how those two kind of compare. 125 pounds, I think, is slightly cheaper than the Clifton 9. So yeah, if you can get on with it, maybe that would be an option. Although I feel like the Clifton's going to be softer and a bit more accommodating than this one. So my really, really early first run verdict, I've done very few miles in this, so I don't want to give it too much of a kind of a seal of approval or not. This feels like a sort of pretty standard Hoka shoe to me, sort of happy to run in, to clip along in. It's got that kind of nice rocker movement. It's a fairly firm shoe. It's a fairly snug fit. It's a bit heavy on the foot overall at 11 point something ounces. I didn't love it so far today for those easy recovery miles. Didn't hate it. Just, you know, I think it's going to take a little while to break in, and once it has, maybe it'll have something more about it. I think if you're going to use this for sort of walking and maybe a little bit of running, this would do a good job. I'm not sure that many runners are going to find it accommodating enough, particularly when you compare it to other shoes that are on the market right now, when you've got, you know, those things sort of at the one end where you've got this kind of big, soft, pillowy cushion rides that also have a bit of spring and energy, you know, down to sort of slightly more direct, minimal, neutral sort of shoes that maybe even have this kind of faster sort of clip along ride. It's sort of somewhere in between those two. So it's going to be interesting to do some more testing and see what it's actually good for and where it's, you know, where it fits or where it might fit in a rotation. But for now, it was a bit like, okay, fine, did a good job, wasn't in love with it. But we shall find out more when we do the full review. So there you have it. That has been my first run look at the Hoka Kawana 2. Hope you found it useful. We'll be doing more miles in this. So if you have any questions about it, something you want to know, hit us up in the comments below. We'll endeavour to answer those in the review. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring that bell if you want to hear about new reviews when they hit the channel. That's what you have to do. Now, if you're interested in Hoka shoes, I'm going to pop a couple of reviews up on the channel that you might want to look at now that are somewhere near these shoes. Interesting shoes that you will certainly enjoy hearing about. So go and watch those now. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure to talk to you about these shoes. Hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. Happy running, everyone. We'll see you again.